Interactive problem number 22 comes from last week's duplicate game. East got to play this hand, but now I've rotated it to play for South so that we can all experience this play problem and learn from the lesson of this hand. So first, the bidding. When a club by our left-hand opponent after we passed, partner made a takeout double and it went pass. And I stressed in the post-mortem how important it is that we jump to 2 spades with this hand. We have 8 points. Partners made a takeout double. We're already a passed hand. But in general, jumping to the 2 level opposite partner's takeout double shows about 8 to 11 points. Not all 8s would jump to 2, but this 8 for sure jumps to 2. Because you have to recognize when you bid 1 spade, you could have 0 points. Partners made a takeout double forcing us in. So partner's not really supposed to bid again with unless they have a really strong hand over 1 spade. But this hand, South, particularly 5-4-2-2, has a lot of playing strength. The fact that we have doubletons in both hearts and diamonds, we know that's going to be very useful. If partner does in fact have a 4-card spade fit like we found out them to have on this hand, our playing strength is even stronger than it looks. So before you go ahead and watch the rest of the video, play the handout using the interactive features on wolpertbridge.com and then watch the rest of the video. Okay, so you know that I'm constantly preaching over tricks, because most of you guys are playing in pair games, and in pair games, those over tricks matter so much. And so here, when we go to look and count our losers, we see the spade suit we may be able to solve for no losers in a perfect world. If the king of spades is on side and the spades break 2-2, we're not going to lose any spades. But more likely, spades will not break and we will lose 1. But we do think the king of spades is probably on side with the opening bidder. In hearts, we have a heart loser. In clubs, if we look from the long trump hand, we actually have 3 club losers. And so you can easily look at the club suit and say, hey, there's only 2 in dummy. Maybe we only have 1 club loser. But I like to just acknowledge those 3rd and 4th clubs as losers so that we make a plan for them. And that turns out to be very important on this hand. And finally, the diamonds, we have no diamond losers. So is there anything we can do to get rid of our heart loser? That's when I'm looking around to see which losers can I get rid of. I can see that I can probably trump my 4-2 of clubs in dummy. If I'm going to lose a spade, it's going to be an inevitable spade loser. But can I get rid of the heart loser? And it turns out the opening lead of the opponents has given us an opportunity to get rid of our heart loser. So the way you're supposed to play this hand is by the ace 10-9 of diamonds is a great holding. What happens is when you play the 9, it goes jack and we win the king. Now, what we can do is we can immediately get rid of our heart loser by taking a diamond finesse. And what the best thing about this diamond finesse is after we see our left-hand opponent play the 6 of diamonds on the second trick, that meant they led 3 and then 6. So they for sure have 3 of them. So there's no real risk to this. Even if this finesse lost, we were still going to be able to use the ace of diamonds to throw away our 3 of hearts. So that is a trick that we must take advantage of, and this time the finesse would win. So now we can take that 3rd diamond, throwing away our heart, and the queen drops. So now we're already a trick ahead against some people, the people who didn't lead a diamond. That we needed that diamond lead in order for us to get 3 diamond tricks. So if I was playing in a match point field, I would already feel very confident that I'm going to get a pretty good score because I'm sure not everybody led a diamond from queen 3rd. So now the only other thing that I need to worry about here is roughing my 2 clubs in dummy and finessing trumps and getting trumps out. But this is a common problem where if we draw trumps too quickly, before we give the opponents a club trick, what we're going to do is we're going to expose them to being able to draw the 3rd round of trumps. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play this hand incorrectly from this point forward so you can see what bad can happen to you. I'm going to show you West's cards and see what happens. If you come back to your hand and play a trump to the queen, and then you play the ace of trumps, what's going to happen is now when it's time to finesse a club or to give up a club, lefty is going to win their queen and they're going to take their king of spades. And that's going to stop us. You can see that takes one of dummy's 2 critical trumps away. So now we are going to have a club loser. I can play the rest of out for you to see it, but the point is it's done. Now when they play back a heart, we're going to win the ace of hearts and we can trump a heart, but the problem is we only have 1. I'm going to show you the other person's hand as well now. We only have one trump in dummy, so we're going to inevitably lose the king of clubs. But this was a very easily preventable problem, and it's a common theme. All we had to do was make sure that we lost a club trick earlier, before that we played the ace queen of spades. So even if we played a club to the ace and finesse the spade first to the queen, this isn't how I would play it for what it's worth, but this now the key would be to just play a club off the dummy now. That way they can't, now when they get in with their club, sure, they can play a spade, but it's not drawing our trump, and now the hand is kind of taken care of. But what I would do, I'm just going to jump back a second, is back to this trick. Before, I would just actually finesse the club. I would let them win their club. I don't think the clubs are 6-1 on this hand, because I think they would have led the king of clubs from king queen 10, king queen 10 6th. So I think there's no real risk to this play. And now when they play back a heart, now I can win the ace of hearts and trump a heart back to my hand and finesse the spade. But now, because the club roughs are all set up, I can cash the ace of spades, and now I can go about my business without ever letting the opponents in. So now I'm going to easily be able to rough a club and dummy. This is actually an extremely common theme. I'm going to play the rest of the hand out so you can see I can rough it. And it wouldn't even matter if we got over roughed, because that's the last trump. And I'm going to play a club, and you can see now we're going to get to just rough, and the opponents get their one spade trick. So the optimal result on this hand was just to lose one club and one spade. The opponents gave us a trick at trick 1. We had to capitalize on it. By finessing that diamond, and you can just see the diamond trick again. It went jack, king, and now there was nothing they could do once they let a diamond. Now we get to finesse them for the queen, cash the ace of diamonds, throwing the heart, and duck a club to get ourselves set up for the position where we are now able to draw trumps. So that theme of making sure that we establish our roughs before we give the opponents the chance to draw too many trumps from dummy is a common theme. Look for it when you're roughing in the shorthand. Hope you enjoyed this interactive problem.